agree. Welcome back to the Nothing Better podcast. I am one of your hosts, Charlie. I'm here with my brother, Sam. Say hi, Sam.
What's up, guys?
Sam, there is nothing better to do when I'm bored than waste time reading Reddit. And I have some of the most iconic Reddit stories of all time for you today.
You know what else I do when I'm bored?
What?
I listen to a podcast.
Oh my God, it's almost like we named the podcast like that. Oh, dude. Some of these stories are from 10 years ago.
Wow, I was
You were
not
like in third grade.
boomers.
Okay, you didn't have to do that. Our first
Little
story is only from 5 years ago. That's not too bad. 5 years. It has 173,000 upvotes. Today I effed up by buying everyone an Ancestry DNA kit and ruining Christmas.
Oh, I can already tell where this is going.
Earlier this year, Ancestry DNA had a sale on their DNA kit. I thought it would be a great gift idea, so I bought 6 of them for Christmas presents. Today, my family got together to exchange presents for our Christmas Eve tradition, and I gave my mom, dad, brother, and 2 sisters each a kit. As soon as everyone opened their gifts at the same time, my mom started freaking out. She told us she didn't want us taking them because they had unsafe chemicals. We had explained to her how there were actually no chemicals involved in the test. We would spit into vials, but we could still tell she was flustered. Later, she started trying to convince us that only one of us kids needed to take the test, since we will all have the same results anyways, and we should resell the other kits just to save money. Fast forward to a couple hours later. Our parents have been fighting upstairs for the past few hours, and we are downstairs trying to figure out which one of us 4 kids has a different dad.
Oh,
That's a
Like,
nightmare scenario.
like right when you said, yeah, the mom didn't want us taking this, and like,
That's a nightmare scenario. It doesn't say how old they are, but I imagine like if you can afford 6 Ancestry DNA kits, because it's not like those are cheap. That's a couple $100 at least to blow on Christmas for your family. I imagine you've got to be at least like out of college.
Oh no, for sure.
So you're looking at potentially over 20 years of not knowing your dad isn't your biological dad.
Like, what's that song, Kanye song lyric? 18 years you raise him, you find out he isn't even yours. Oh, that's
that's like the worst case scenario present.
Like, I don't get how like you can like the mother can like live with themselves knowing that they're lying about one of their children.
Okay, well here's the question. Do you take the test?
Of course I take the test.
You take it? I don't know if I do.
Yeah.
I feel like not knowing might be a blessing.
But it's going to eat away at everyone forever till you get to the bottom of the because it's like every like time all the kids are together, you know one of them's an imposter, Charlie.
Well, because they do have an update here. And it's pretty simple. Thank you all so much for the love and support. My sister's brother and I have not yet decided if we are going to take the test. But no matter what the results are, we still love each other and our parents no matter what. I feel like that's a good sentiment. Because that's the thing. She said only one of you needs to take it. Which implies some of them are the father's children. And some of them aren't.
Like, my first question is like, with that, like the update, you know, even if they take the test, they're still going to love each other. Nothing's changing.
Yeah, well, I think they'll still love each other, but it'll be different. Because
it'll be different.
One of them is about to have their world turned upside down in the sense of like, well, one, my mom has lied to my father, the man who raised me. She had an affair. And which child it is dictates when the affair happened.
I mean, I could see maybe the father treating the child differently. But I feel like after, like, it's your brother or sister, you know, for the last 20 years, no matter what.
I don't think the siblings treat you differently because it's just like someone you were raised alongside. But I think for the one child, wouldn't you want to know who your biological dad was?
Yeah. No, 100%. And that's why I think I'd have to take the test. It would eat away at me not knowing.
Update 2.
Uh-oh.
Christmas
Oh.
isn't ruined. My fuck up actually turned into a Christmas miracle. It turns out that my sister's father passed away shortly after she was born. Or she is the oldest among us. A good friend of my mom's was able to help her through the darkest time in her life. And they went on to fall in love and create the rest of our family and have 3 more children. They never told us this because of how hard it was on my mom. Last night, she was strong enough to share the stories and photos with us of her first husband, and it truly brought our family closer together. This is a Christmas we'll never forget, and yes, we all are truly excited to get our actual test results. Merry Christmas.
Aw,
That's
okay.
the best possible ending.
It's a Christmas miracle. That sounds like a Christmas movie. That sounds
that's
like
a
straight up
Hallmark
Christmas
movie.
All the siblings, like maybe like they're all older, you know.
Mhm.
They're like losing touch with each other, and they find like this big conspiracy with their mother, and it brings them all close together. And by the end, they go, you know, no matter what, we're all still gonna love each other. And they find out it's just one big misunderstanding.
Yeah, well, and it's also like there was no infidelity. It's truly just like it was a hard part of her life. She didn't want the oldest sister to feel left out. Yeah, and you know, I don't think they were fighting so much as they're like, maybe we should tell them. You know, they're old enough, they can know.
20 years is a long time to keep it.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I feel like you have to sit them down and be like, hey, let's talk about your actual dad. If not, just for medical reasons, like maybe there's a disease that runs in the family.
Yeah. You know, I'm glad we finally got a feel-good one in there.
Feel good one?
Finally got a feel-good one.
Oh, I didn't
You
mention.
got me in the first half.
I did.
You got me in the first half.
I didn't mention this, but we are gonna talk about the poop knife today.
You've mentioned that before of like
Mentioned
I
what?
feel like the poop knife in the sense of just like because I'm younger than you and
Yeah.
you are so old.
I'm not
That, like,
so old.
I've been a Reddit user for like only like 3-4 years, and you keep mentioning like how I'm like this new like I don't remember the good times, the golden age
Yeah, the poop knife.
of Reddit.
Oh, you want me to walk around to random people and be like, sir, do you know about the poop knife?
Not even that. I want you just to go in the middle of like a freaking mall and just go, anybody here on Reddit? And a bunch of people gonna raise their hands and you're gonna go, anybody know what the poop
Well,
knife
see, that's
is?
the thing. It's they don't go outside.
That, you know. Alright, that hit a little too close. That hit a little too close.
Speaking of weirdos in public, this is another iconic Reddit story. This is an Ask Reddit post. Who's the dumbest person you've ever met?
Damn.
It's not uncommon as a teacher to have students who are a bit behind the curve in certain aspects, but 99.999% of the time, they are keen on something. They might not understand how to identify a noun or what a literary theme is, but they somehow know how to make a mean plate of nachos. You learn pretty quickly not to judge fish for their tree climbing ability, you know? And I thought this was a rule, till I met Kevin. Now, Kevin's not his real name. But that doesn't matter, because he couldn't spell it anyways. Kevin was a student of mine during my last year of teaching. He came to my classroom with very little to show for his academic past. He'd move a few times, and thus was missing a lot of the typical test scores that we use to try and ballpark academic ability. Don't worry, we were trying to ballpark it. We didn't make major decisions until we had a chance to talk and work with the student. And I thought, that's fine. I guess I'll just do some one-on-one time with Kevin and see what's up. Well, one-on-one time with Kevin was like conversing with someone who'd forgotten everything in a freak, if not impossible, amnesia incident. There was no evidence Kevin had ever learned anything past the 2nd grade, and now he was going into his freshman year of high school. Flabbergasted, I figured we needed to get more serious about this. If he was going to be in my class, I needed to know why and how. So I decided to meet with him. his guidance counselor, his parents, and another teacher to see what was really going on. And this is where it became clear. It was by some incredible fluke that his family had not been wiped off the face of the earth years ago. Odds are his entire heritage was based on blind luck or some type of sick divine intervention that saves his family every time a threat presented itself. Kevin was the genetic pinnacle of null achievement. Even my instructional lead, a woman who could find a redeeming trait in a Balrog, failed to see any reason this kid or his family should be alive today. So here is a list that made it abundantly clear that God does exist and that he is laughing uncontrollably at Kevin. Kevin frequently forgot when and where his class was. On more than one occasion, I had to go and retrieve him from other classrooms. Kevin once ate an entire 24 pack of crayons, puked, and then did it again the next day. This is freshman year of high school. I do not know where he got crayons. Kevin's dad wrote tuition checks and mailed them to me. His English teacher. This is a public school. I then gave the money back to Kevin, voided, to give his dad with a brief note explaining that, sir, this is a public school and we do not charge tuition. Kevin then got in trouble trying to spend the voided checks at 7-Eleven. Kevin was removed from the culinary arts program after leaving a cutting board on the gas stove and starting a fire. Twice. Kevin threw his lunch at a school resource officer and then tried to run away. He ran into a door and then insisted it was not him. Kevin stole my phone during class. I called it. It rang. He then denied it was ringing. He did not deny he stole the phone. He denied that the phone was actually ringing. He then tried it 3 more times before the end of school. Kevin called the basketball coach, and I quote, a motherfucking bitch during gym. That afternoon, Kevin attended basketball tryouts. It did not go well. Kevin's mom could not remember which school Kevin went to. She missed several meetings because she drove to other schools, none of which Kevin had ever attended. Kevin tased himself in the neck before a football game. Kevin kept a bottle of orange Kool-Aid in his backpack for 4 months, believing that it would eventually turn into alcohol. He drank it during homeroom and threw up. Kevin says the N-word a lot. Kevin was white. This high school was 84% black. Kevin got beat up a lot. Kevin once stole another student's iPhone and tried to sell it back to them. Kevin did not understand that his grade was dependent on tests, quizzes, and homework, as well as participation. Kevin finished his first semester with a 3% average and then tried to bribe me with $11. Kevin spit on a girl. You should get out of those wet clothes, Kevin said. The girl was the Spanish student teacher. Kevin did not know dogs and cats were different animals. Kevin tried to download pornography onto a computer in the library at the circulation desk while he was logged into his own account. Kevin asked a girl to prom. He was in 9th grade, and freshmen did not attend prom by asking for her phone number and then simply texting her his address. Kevin regularly tried to cheat on assignments by knocking the pile of homework over, grabbing one of them before I managed to pick them up, and then writing his name wherever there was room on the paper, not even bothering to erase the name that was already there. Kevin had several food allergies, but neither him nor his parents could remember what they were. They were concerned that the holiday party, this is a high school and we don't have those, would have peanuts. When they finally got a doctor's note, he was allergic to amoxicillin. Kevin and his parents regularly took a trip to Nassau. How the fuck they even got airline tickets was beyond me. And they forgot all of their luggage at home. I didn't believe him when he told me until I talked to his mom, who told me the first thing when I saw her at our bi-weekly meetings. Kevin's grandfather apparently died in a chainsaw accident, and I can only assume God was looking the other way that day.
I was just waiting for that to stop, and it just kept going.
Here's the messed up part, is I have zero doubts Kevin exists.
A lot of those I know a person has done, but all of them done by one person.
Yeah. Well, because
It's
I've met some people, like, I've had some gaps in my knowledge, right? Where people are like, well, that's obvious, you should know that, and I didn't. For example, I recently learned that seals and sea lions were two different animals. I thought seal was short for sea lion, like sea, and then L, seal. You take the L from lion, it's seal. I thought they were the same thing.
Yeah, I still struggle to spell different and beautiful on a piece of paper.
Those are hard.
So I can't.
Diarrhea. Diarrhea is
Don't.
impossible to spell.
I can't think of a single situation where you would say diarrhea instead of poop.
Typing in
and
symptoms to WebMD.
Liquid poop.
I had to take a freshman course my junior year of high school because we moved. And it was really easy. You know, I was 2 years older than everyone, and so I thought it would be a breeze, and it was. But I also met a kid who was probably one of the dumbest people I've ever met, because it was a geography class, you know, geography/history, and we were doing the states test. They got 6 out of 50 states, which is wild when you've lived for 14 years in the United States. And it wasn't like you had to remember the names. It was matching. Like, just off the top of your head, Alaska, Hawaii, California, Texas.
New York.
You should get New York, Florida. You should be able to get those. But he learned that day that Alaska wasn't an island, because for maps of the U.S., because Alaska is next to Canada, they move it down and have it next to Hawaii. He thought Alaska was an island that was genuinely next to Hawaii.
You know, kid in college, I will not name him, still a great friend of mine, thought the moon was less than 100 miles to the Earth. I don't know exactly how far the moon is from Earth, but I goddamn know it's more than 100 miles, Charlie. A lot more than 100 miles.
Do you think Kevin knows about this post?
I think it's a win for Kevin if Kevin's still alive, Charlie.
Well, we have another Today I Effed Up story for you. This is a pretty iconic one. This is from 9 years ago. Today I effed up by upsetting the parents of my girlfriend by pretending not to know what a potato is. Let me tell you that I have made a bad mistake this evening. My girlfriend, who, let me tell you, is only my second girlfriend of all time, said that I was invited to dinner with her and her parents. I was very aghast, nervous, and even bashful to be invited to such a situation. But I knew it must be done. I met them nicely, I should tell you, and it started off in a good way. Then the idea slapped my mind that I should do a comic bit to make a good impression and become known to them as a person who is amusing. When I saw that baked potatoes were served, I got the idea that it would be very good if I pretended I did not know what potatoes were. So first, when the potato became on my plate, I acted very interesting. I showed an expression on my face so as to seem that I was confused, astounded even, but in a restrained way, curious and interested. They did notice and seemed confused, but didn't remark. So I asked, "This looks very interesting. What's this?" And she said, "A potato." And I was like, "Oh, a potato. Interesting. Never heard of a potato. Looks pretty good." And then they didn't see I was clowning, but they genuinely thought I didn't know what a potato was. So I knew I would be very shamed, humiliated, depressed, and disgusted if I admitted to making a bad joke. So what I did was to act like it wasn't a joke, and then I committed to the bit, pretending I didn't know what a potato is. They asked me, very incredulous, did I really not know what a potato is? Have I never heard of a potato? I went with it. And I told them, yes. Not only have I never eaten a potato, I had not even heard the word potato. How you feeling, Sam?
I I feel like the more stories I listen, and right when I hear the words, I double down. Nothing ever good comes from it.
This went on for quite a bit, and my girlfriend was acting very confused and embarrassed by my fucked up antics. And the more I insisted I did not know what a potato was, the parents began to genuinely think I did know what it was, and that I was lying for some reason. Well, let me tell you, at this point, I have to 100% commit. When I didn't admit to knowing what a potato was, the father especially began to grow annoyed. At one point, he said something like, "Enough is enough. You're fucking with us, admit it." To which I replied, "Sir, before today, I never heard of a potato. I still don't know what a potato is, other than some kind of food. I don't know what to tell you." Well, let me tell you. He started to get annoyed. I decided to take a bite of the potato, and when I did, I made a high-pitched noise and said, tastes very strange." This is when the father started actively yelling at me, and the mother said, "What are you doing?" And my girlfriend ran to the other room embarrassed. Eventually, the father yelled at me to get the fuck out of his house, and I replied that they were being irrational to treat me like this just because I've never heard of a potato. And he didn't take that kindly. Now, I've been texting with my girlfriend, and I have to pretend I really don't know what a potato is. The only way I will ever get out of this is for them to buy that I don't know what a potato is. I wish I never started, but I can't go back. I think she's gonna break up with me anyways.
That's how you know she isn't the one, bro.
Here's the thing. I have never struggled to read through a story that much. I don't care about the secondhand cringe. The grammar in that story, halfway through, I just started paraphrasing. Because some of these sentences do not make sense.
Well, the dude did say he just wrote it right after. I still am bewildered how their first reaction is when they fuck something up is to write it to Reddit.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Like, I have an ounce of understanding. An ounce. Because I've definitely...
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I do! Because I've definitely had bits where it's like, I've got to commit to this now. Especially if if I was pretending I didn't know what something was, and someone goes, "Really? You don't?" I think if it caught me off guard, I might double down. I'm trying to think of a good example.
I still have a friend who's doubled down on something, and I still think he's lying. It's been going on for a year now. I hate to say, it always frustrates me.
Mm-hmm.
I have someone who still to this day believes Japan isn't part of Asia because it's not connected by land.
What?
And I think he misspoke when he said it. But for the last year, he is committed to it. Where it's like, if it's not connected by land, it's not part. And then I go, what about Hawaii? He's like, Hawaii it shouldn't be a state. It's not part of America. I'm like, what?
You know what it is? I feel like this is what 20% of flat earthers are now. They preached about flat earth so much to their friends and family, and then eventually realized the earth was round, and now they can never admit it. They can't admit they were wrong. You know? They're in too deep. Where once you've dedicated enough time to being part of the flat earth community, if you admit that you genuinely wasted years of your life on a hoax, you can't come back from that.
Well, how'd that go, Charlie? I want to tell you, for the last 4 years, I've been a
Yeah,
flat earther.
I'm
I
aware.
believe the Earth was
Hmm.
flat.
It's made
I
family
think
vacations really hard.
I think the Earth is a sphere.
I told you so.
No, no,
That.
Charlie. I believe in hollow Earth.
Oh shit.
I just can't think. Like, is it pride at that point, or it's just like, it's definitely like just the adrenaline. Like, oh shit, I don't want to look dumb, but then you don't realize. Can someone commit to not knowing what a potato is for their entire life?
You know, I will.
Think of all the foods. French fries. I mean, baked
Potato
potatoes
chips.
are off. Potato chips. It's in the word.
Yeah.
How do they get like?
Well, because there's some stuff like if this was like ethnic food. Like I recently saw a video. It's one of my favorite videos of some white guy in like middle America who's eating Indian food for the first time. And he's like, and this flat stuff is called naan bread. That's so good. And so this is butter chicken. It's kind of a strange consistency. Maybe this is a soup. Ooh, so divine. Oh my god, that's amazing. And I'm like, I'm envious of that he's genuinely like, I believe he's never had Indian food before, but a fucking potato is one of the most common foods in the world. We eat that like, it might be one of the most common foods ever. It's like up there with rice or bread.
Like of all things too, it's like what else was at the dinner? You think like if potatoes are there, I'm just like what? Of all things you choose to pretend not to know, you choose a goddamn fucking potato.
And here's the thing. Here's what I'll say. One of the reasons I sympathize with them, parrots seem like dicks.
Oh no, for sure.
Because like not pretending not to know what a potato is an annoying bit. 100%, it'd be irritating. Yelling at them to get the fuck out of your house.
But the parents knew he was lying.
Yeah,
like,
but isn't
and like
at a certain point like they kept pushing it. Because he definitely sounds like he's maybe like 15, 16. This sounds like dumb 15, 16-year-old shit.
well, but it's like, okay, Charlie, like let's like pretend I'm like you have a daughter and I'm her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Ready? And I say this.
Sam, you're dating your niece? That would be my first reaction.
Hello, Mr. Rice. I really like how green the sky is today. Do you know the sky's green?
Son, it's blue.
No, it's green. Like, have you walked outside?
I think you might
It's
be
green.
colorblind.
No, it's green. It's not blue. This is blue. What I'm wearing is blue. The sky is green. I swear.
Okay, see, that's the thing, though. Like, it depends who's pushing the topic. Like, if he says, I don't know, I've never heard of a potato, and then they keep asking him about it, they're the dicks. Or if they try to move on, because that's the thing, if it just moves on and then they just eat their meal, that's that.
But it's like it's your daughter, you know? It's like you want to make sure she's like with a trustworthy guy. And one of the first times you meet the person and he goes, "I don't know what potatoes are." And you know he's lying? Is that really the person you want dating your daughter?
Is that the deal breaker we're looking for?
Yes!
It's like he made a dumb joke. Clearly it meant to be a dumb joke. Clearly you came off hostile. Like he's probably a 15-year-old kid. It's his second girlfriend ever. He's probably terrified.
What? But why does he commit to it? Like,
Because he's a dumb 15-year-old.
I know potatoes, but I don't want my daughter dating that guy.
Yeah, but just because you don't want your daughter dating him doesn't justify yelling at, once again, what I'm assuming is a teenager, get the fuck out of this house.
Well, first he was embarrassing his girlfriend, or in this situation, my daughter.
But you're the adult in this situation.
But I like literally, I'd just be sitting there. So it's like, so how do you not know potatoes exist? Like, please tell me that would not be the only thing you're thinking about for the rest of the dinner. Like,
Well,
how
no,
does this
because I
motherfucker not know what a
think I
potato
think
is?
it's apparent very fast that he's lying, right? And he even says like, "I think they knew." Continuing to press it is like, I think that's a weird thing to do to a kid in a lower position. Like, if a 6-year-old comes up to me and is like, "I have a pet dragon," I'm not gonna be like, "No, you fucking don't. Dragons don't exist, fucking dumbass." Like, no, I'm older than him. I'm the adult. He's a kid. He's nervous. He wants to seem cool. He wants to impress me.
I don't know potatoes exist.
I'm not denying it's cringe. I'm just saying he's not the only cringe one at the dinner table.
I can't. I would get so frustrated with someone if they were like I sympathize more with the father than the kid, because I'm just like, how, like, either situation, in some miraculous way this kid does not know a potato exists. I'm like
I want to know more. Here's the thing. I was with the kid until he went, tastes very strange. I think that's when he lost me. And at that point, I'm like, I'm not on your side anymore. Here's another very iconic story. I think my landlord is stalking me. This is posted to r/legal advice. On the 15th of April, I found a yellow post-it note and a handwriting that wasn't mine on my desk, reminding me of some errands I had to do. But I told literally nobody else about these tasks. While this was odd, I chalked it up to something I did in my sleep maybe, thinking in my half-awake state I must have scrawled it so it didn't appear to be my handwriting. I threw the post-it note out and I thought very little of it. On the 19th, I found a second post-it note on the back of my desk chair in the same handwriting as the previous note, telling me to make sure I saved my documents. This began to freak me out, but there was no obvious signs of a break-in. So I set up a webcam in my house, aimed at my desk, and used a security camera app for it to record and detect movement. On the 28th, I woke up to find yet another post-it note. This one saying, "Our landlord isn't letting me talk to you, but it's important we do." I immediately checked the webcam's folder on my computer and found nothing from the night before. But my computer's recycling bin had been emptied, which I'm certain I did not do. This indicated to me that someone had noticed the webcam and deleted the files. They were just saved to a folder on my desktop called webcam, so this would not be difficult. On the 1st of May, I found another post-it note, this time outside my front door, with nothing written on it. There also appeared to be post-its on many other doors in my apartment. On other doors in my apartment. All blank, in varying colors. Do I have any legal recourse here? I don't have any proof except for the post-its, but those are written by my pen and on my post-it notes. So conceivably to a court of law, I could have faked this. Would contacting the police get me into any trouble if they can't determine an outside source did this? I just want to make sure I'm not wasting anyone's time. I pulled a letter I received from my landlord back when I moved in, and the handwriting is identical. Could this count as evidence?
I would move the fuck out.
That is terrifying. The minute the webcam folder is emptied.
That is one of my, like, nightmares where I wake up and someone's just watching me sleep.
Well, do you ever, like, because sometimes I feel that, like, sometimes you see something move out of the corner of your eye and you freak the fuck out, right? You ever do that? Sometimes it's like lights from cars coming in through your window, but you only catch out of the corner of your eye and you're like, what was that?
You know what's the worst thing? Like,
what?
Like, it was this summer and it's happened when, like when we had, like, a big house in Seattle. Even now, like, you're the only one home.
Oh, yeah.
In, like, a big house or just, like, anywhere, like, and it's just like you feel like you go crazy, like, you know, like when people I used to think like, oh, like, even if I was ever put in solitary confinement, like, you know, those Mr. Beast videos, like, can you sit in a room by yourself? Like, of course
Yeah.
I could. Then I'm actually alone for myself for like an hour.
And you
I
start
get
you
so
start going
paranoid.
crazy.
The fuck was that?
Yeah, because this is genuinely like nightmare fuel. This is the beginning of a horror movie. There's a twist.
Uh-oh.
Because the top comment says, "Hey, you seem sincere, and this doesn't appear to be the plot of a Ray Bradbury short story. Yes, it's possible that your landlord is leaving notes inside your apartment, but they don't make any sense in the context you're describing them. It's likely you may be writing these notes to yourself, but you're forgetting. Do you use post-it notes as reminders in any parts of your life or job? This may be a mental health issue. You might be experiencing dissociative disorder, or this might be a physical problem. You mentioned that you have a very unusual narrow bedroom with no windows and other comments. Is there a chance you're not getting enough ventilation when you sleep, or that there is a carbon monoxide leak in your building? A cheap carbon monoxide detector, which you should have anyways, is a fast way to find out. You'll also get really bad headaches. You know your own medical and mental history and your own experiences better than I ever will. But if you think that these incidents might be you, writing notes to yourself, there's no shame in getting somebody qualified to give you an opinion." The OP responds, "I have been getting really bad headaches, and I do have a CO2 detector. I guess I should probably take that out of its box and plug it in." In another thread, they update it, confirming that this was a CO2 leak, a carbon monoxide leak. Thanks to everyone who sent suggestions and gave advice on how to proceed, especially to those who recommended a CO detector, because when I plugged into the bedroom, it read at 100 particles per millimeter. I had carbon monoxide poisoning, and I thought that my landlord was stalking me. Thank you, you slash Kakerlak, big time. You just saved my life.
Holy fuck.
What a roller coaster.
Like, that went from terrifying to still just the same amount of terrifying.
Different kind of terrifying. There was
Did I tell you what?
You go.
Did I tell you what I did this summer? How so I stayed at a host. I played baseball this summer. I stayed with a host family,
Yes.
and they left for a whole week. I was the only one in a giant house by myself, 2 stories, everything.
Damn.
And my last words to them were, "Ha, don't worry, I won't burn the house down." That very night, I made
Oh my God.
curry, and I thought I turned the stove all the way off, but I left the gas a little on, and I woke up to a rotten egg smell. I'm like,
Sam!
and then I walked downstairs to cook eggs. Right before I turned the stove on, I hear a hissing sound. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I learned, and the thing was on. I'm like, wow, I almost just killed myself.
Dude!
Turn it off.
This is not the
turned
first time you've done this. You used to do this all the time in high school, too.
So I turn it off. I open all the windows. First thing I do, text the mom, my host mom. Hey, just want to let you know I'm safe and your house is okay. I left the stove on all night. I'm letting it go out. They had 2 CO2 things. It's really high. I'm just sitting outside right now. I'm waiting for it to go down. Just want to let you know everything's okay.
You're a menace. Oh my, I'm glad you're safe, dude. Holy crap.
I was like, but I had a headache the entire day, into the night as well, and I was just like, wow. Like, those are the few moments where it's like, wow, I was literally a second away. Like, I was gonna make eggs. I was gonna make scrambled eggs. If I turned that thing, poof. Yeah, I'm dumb sometimes.
That's crazy.
I'm a Kevin. I'm a Kevin sometimes.
You are a Kevin. But yeah, a lot of these stories, I'm glad they have happy endings.
Yeah, I need that right now. I think everyone needs that right now.
Here is another iconic fuck up. Today I effed up by throwing my steak out a window. Last night, my wife's boss from her brand new job invited us over for dinner. On the drive over, my wife reiterated many times to me just how important it was to make a good impression that night. I scoffed and arrogantly informed my silly wife that I always make good impressions. My wife's boss is a single lady in her 50s, so it was just the three of us. We chit-chatted over drinks and salads and seemed to be really hitting it off. She laughed at my well-timed, perfectly appropriate jokes, and my wife seemed pleased. Soon, she brought out the main course. A nice, big, juicy steak for each of us. As I began to cut into my steak, I was discouraged to discover how undercooked the steak was. Now, I've had my fair share of rare steak. I personally prefer medium, but I can handle rare. This was several minutes on a hot grill short of rare. I probably could have resuscitated the cow had I tried. Instead, I sat there fidgeting with my knife and fork, worrying about how I was going to get away with not eating this raw steak. Claim veganism? No, I had already feigned great enthusiasm upon seeing the steak. Just then, our hostess excused herself to the kitchen to take care of the dessert preparations. As I looked across the fancy dining room table at the open window of this third-story apartment, a cartoon light bulb appeared over my head. I had to be decisive. Realizing that the boss could return at any moment, I committed. I grabbed the steak with my hand, gently shook off the juice, and executed a perfect throw right through the center of the open window. But here's where I messed up. The window wasn't open. It was just very clean.
Oh no.
That is, it was clean until my mostly raw slab of steak slammed up against it, slowly sliding down, leaving a trail of bloody juice in its wake. My wife, whose steak was a nice medium rare and was unaware of my predicament, turned, jaw dropped, and stared at me like I was an alien from another planet. This look then slowly merged into more of a, there is no place on this planet you can ever hide from me expression of demonic anger. My wife's boss, who had heard the thud of the steak on window impact, came quickly to investigate. She took in the scene, the steak sitting on the windowsill, the bloody trail, my empty plate, and then gave me an inquisitive and puzzled look. I just didn't know what to say. It felt like a minute of silence, but was probably just 3 or 4 seconds, before the best I could manage to say was, I'm so sorry. I'm such a klutz. I don't know. I was just cutting it and it slipped. Just ask my wife. I really am a klutz. Right, honey? But no help came from my honey. Let me clean this up. I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. Etc., etc. Both women continued to stare at me like I had escaped from the loony bin as I smeared the blood around on the window with my cloth napkin, dusted off the steak, and continued to mutter my incoherent explanation. I knew no one was buying my story. I knew what I had to do. I sheepishly returned to my seat and proceeded to eat every bite of this disgusting, cold, chewy, bloody raw steak. I remained pretty quiet the rest of the evening. I'm writing this later that night, and so far my wife's only 2 words to me since have been, I'm fine.
Okay. First, at least you took it like a champ.
Yeah.
You were eating that steak.
You have to eat the steak. And here's the worst part. I might have done the exact same thing in his situation. Like, I like to think I'm the type of person who would be like, oh, excuse me, this is a bit raw. But I don't know if I am with a stranger the first time you meet him.
I hate to say it. I know we are those 2 people who, if they get our order wrong at like Taco Bell, we just take it. We're like, it's not worth it.
See, here's the thing. No. Here's the thing. at a Taco Bell, or like if it's at a restaurant, I have no issue doing it because I paid for it, and they are doing their job, and it's their job to make sure I get the right food. If it's at someone's house and they are cooking me food and they are doing it as a gift to me, it is infinitely harder for me to send it back and reject it. My go-to excuse is, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, can I take this to go? I ate a large lunch, or I got really hungry today and I ate a bit before this." That's my go-to excuse, because there's a lot of things I don't eat, like mushrooms or seafood, and I don't want to be rude.
Is it rude to ask her to cook it a little more?
I think you don't want to come off like that because the night's not about you. You're trying to impress her and make a good impression for your wife. Like,
Yeah, it does.
I understand the logic, and I can see myself doing it. I like to believe I would notice the window is closed, but I have
No.
walked into several screen doors.
I love you, Charlie. No.
Would you throw the steak?
No!
You wouldn't?
First off, if I threw that steak, it would have shattered that window.
Oh, we get it. You're a baseball player.
And second off, I love how that's your first idea. Like, everything that runs through your head, nah. Okay, like, first, I'm not going to ask her to recook it. Nah, I'm not going to ask to take it home. I am going to chuck it through the window and pretend I ate it in the span of 2 minutes. What?
So funny. Okay, well, let me throw you an alternate scenario. Okay, I'm the husband throwing the steak. You're my wife. You see me throw this steak. What are you thinking?
Well, if you successfully threw it the window, I'm not saying shit. But
That's marriage. You gotta ride or die.
then, like, when you fail, I just, like, again, I would just sit there in silence and go,
There's like a minute of like, did you just fucking do that?
it's my boss, and you just fucking threw a steak
There is a short update that says, "I finally got the first post. I'm fine communication from my wife. A text from her at work. Good news. Me and my boss just had a good laugh over how much of an idiot you are. I hope you know you will never live this down. Love you, you moron." So that's good. I'm glad the boss seems cool. For now, Sam, I have a story for you.
Is this what I've been waiting for?
Sam, this is the story of the poop knife.
Okay, let me get comfortable.
My family poops big. Maybe it's genetic. Maybe it's our diet. But everyone births giant logs of crap. If anyone has laid a mega poo, you know that sometimes it won't flush. It lays across the hole in the bottom of the bowl, and the vortex of draining water merely gives it a spin as it mocks you. Growing up, this was a common occurrence in my family. So, naturally, we had a poop knife. It was an old rusty kitchen knife that hung on a nail in the laundry room, only to be used for that purpose. It was normal to walk through the hallway and have someone call out, "Hey, can you get me the poop knife?" And I thought this was a standard kit. You have your plunger, your toilet brush, and your poop knife. Fast forward to the ripe age of 22. It's been a day or two between poops, and I'm over at my friend's house. My friend was the local dealer and always had guests over, but you can't buy weed without sitting on your ass and sampling it for an hour. I excused myself to go lay a gigantic turd. I look down and see that it's a sideways one, so I crack the door and call out for my friend. He arrives and I ask him for his poop knife.
Oh!
My what? Your poop knife, I say. I need to use it, please. What the fuck is a poop knife? I think to myself. Obviously he has one, but maybe he calls it something else? A fecal cleaver? A dung divider? A guano glaive? I explain what it is and what I want and why I want. He starts giggling, then laughing, Lots of other people start laughing. It turns out the music has stopped, and everyone has heard my pleas through the door. It also turns out that none of them ever had poop knives. It was just my fucked up family and their fucked up bowels. I told this
Okay.
to my wife last night, who was amused and horrified at the same time. It turns out she too did not know what a poop knife was and had been using the old rusty knife hanging in the utility box as a utility knife. Thankfully, she doesn't cook with it, but she frequently uses it to open Amazon boxes. She will now be getting her own utility knife.
Okay. I know one thing.
Yeah?
That was by far the best written thing I've ever heard in my life. Second, I know this man was high as fuck while writing this. There's no way he can write that, describe a turd so well if he is not high.
Yeah, there's
What
no way
the
you're coming
fuck?
up with guano glaive unless you're smoked out of your mind. This is another story. Zero doubts this is real. This is 100% real. Zero doubts in my mind.
I almost just have to like lay down and just like comprehend what I just heard.
Laying down thinking about the poop knife.
Like this gives me hope that AI won't be able to take over writing. Because no way
AI
a
cannot-
robot could write this.
ChatGPT could never come up with the poop knife. There's a couple details in here too that make this so perfect. Like, fast forward to the age of 22, it's been a day or two between poops. If I have not pooped in 24 hours, that is cause for concern. This isn't a genetic thing. I think your family just has shit diets, my dude.
I was really hoping when you said poop knife, it's like, oh, it's got to be some metaphor, some inside joke.
No,
Nah, it's a straight up
it's a
fucking
knife
to cut
used
poop.
to cut poop. How do you get to 22 and you don't realize that this is just you? How do you date? Because he has a wife. How do you date other people and the poop knife never comes up?
Honey, could you grab me the poop knife?
The what? How does the poop knife not come up at the wedding? Like, because you're planning an event. Do you just assume the venue has one?
Nah, he carries a miniature one.
He carries a mini
at all
poop.
times.
Because here's the messed up part. I get it.
Have I taken a shit that has clogged a toilet, and if I cut in half, would it have fit? Yes.
100%.
Is every one of my shits like that? No.
Yeah, you should see a doctor.
Like, what the absolute fuck?
Well, and here's my thing: is how do you go 22 years without realizing it? Are you a shy pooper, Sam?
Well, Charlie, my asshole's a slut, and it will shit anywhere. Matter time or location. If it needs to go, it goes.
But some families do have weird quirks like this that you don't realize, like no one else does. I stayed at my friend's house once, and their entire family doesn't flush toilet paper. They have a separate trash can next to the toilet that they put all their shit rags in. And it smelled awful. They were convinced toilet paper was gonna clog it. Like I understand, like, because some people use baby wipes and that'll clog a toilet, but not toilet paper.
Have I accidentally used when I'm out of toilet paper? Have I accidentally used what are they called? Just normal paper towels, and it has it clogged the toilet? Yes. But I feel like that's at
That
least
would
a normal thing that
hurt.
happens.
Dude, if I do this, if I shit and there's no toilet paper, I will just take a shower. You ready for
Your
our
shit's
next story?
going down a drain. I'm ready.
Am I
I'm
the
not ready.
You're not? Am I the asshole for telling my extended family how many men, roughly, my sister has slept with after she outed our youngest brother as a virgin? We had a family dinner this evening. My family has 4 kids in total. Me, my elder sister, 29F, our younger sister, 24F, and our youngest brother, 22M. Extended family attended our family dinner. So all of our significant others, our cousins, aunts, and uncles, etc., during the dinner, My elder and youngest brother got into a mild disagreement. My sister seemed, at least to me, to be coming across as very aggressive out of frustration and losing said argument. The two of them were too absorbed in their argument to realize the rest of us were getting a bit fed up at them constantly bickering. Eventually, my sister got frustrated and said, "Shut up! I'm not going to argue with a 22-year-old virgin." My brother had not made any personal attacks against her to this point. It was completely unprovoked. I think it might have been the alcohol, as my sister is a mean drunk. Anyways, I immediately told my sister to grow up and that she was making an embarrassment of herself. She replied that everyone knows he's a virgin and she didn't say anything wrong. This annoyed me, as my brother definitely has confidence issues and doesn't need to be made fun of like this. So I responded by saying how she has slept with well over 100 men while she was in college, and that since everybody knows, it's not a big deal, right? As it turns out, her husband didn't know. I genuinely assumed he must have known. He left the party angrily saying my sister had misled him about her past. The family is blaming me now for their marital problems, and I refuse to accept I did anything wrong. My sister bullied my brother in front of everyone. All I did was give her a taste of her own medicine. What's that?
See what I'm doing right now?
What are you doing?
I'm adding firewood to the fire. That's exactly what's happening right now.
What do you think?
Fuck it. Is the sister an asshole? Yes. Is the OP an asshole? Yes. It's double case.
I think our society in general places too much shame on for men to be virgins when they're 20, like in their early 20s and their late teens. I was a late bloomer, but it just kind of gets awkward, and then once it happens, it's like not that big of a deal. Like, you're the one, like, yeah, she used it as an insult, but you're also being an ass for taking it as such a huge insult. Nowhere in here is it included that the brother was super offended.
Yeah. No, you got that 100%.
Like, let him fight his battles. Because
what he did.
As much as it is a male confidence issue to be a virgin, you know, especially when you're out of college, it is a societal issue when you imply a woman has less value because she has slept with men. Definitely an odd choice to not tell your husband about your past. The misleading about your past definitely, like, irks me. I want to know more about that.
Yeah, well, like, my thing is, like, did she lie about it, you know? Like, did she say it was less? Because, like, I believe there's some truth where it doesn't matter, but in the sense of, like, for some people it does, you know? And it's their choice to go, oh, I don't want to be with someone who's done this or that many times, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And if she went on to mislead him about it, you know, it's his choice not to, like, choose to be with someone who, in that situation, has slept with that many people.
Well, yeah, because for all I know, well, and there is a scenario, and I don't know what the argument is about, so I'm completely making stuff up at this point. There's a scenario here, right, where they're arguing about, like, oh, women can't have orgasms, which is something people genuinely argue about now, which is wild. And so her saying, man, you're a virgin, is pertinent to the argument. Like, how would you know?
God, wait, before we're going to this is my favorite type of Reddit post. When you know a nuclear bomb drops, it's when you go to the comment section and there's, like, 100 straight deleted accounts and deleted comments.
Oh, yeah.
What happened here?
Everyone sucks here. Like, I can't definitely say it's always shitty to bring up, unless it's pertinent to the argument that your brother's a virgin, especially in front of extended family. It's also not, you know, misleading your husband about your past is also odd. But obviously, without knowing more information, I can't make a sound judgment. In general, though, don't bring up someone's sex life. Like, everything you're saying she did was wrong. You did. You also did it. And you're saying I didn't do anything wrong. She bullied your brother. You bullied her, man. You can't have it both ways. Either she's an asshole and you're also an asshole, or what she did was fine, so what you did is fine. Because they were having an argument, so she lobbed an insult. You want to hear our final story of the day?
Ooh, we got one more? Okay,
One more.
Hit me with it. I'm ready. These have been bangers.
I got some good ones for us today. Today, I effed up by demanding that my girlfriend show me where she buried our beans in the woods.
My beans!
With all that's going on, my girlfriend and I decided to stock up on supplies, including canned goods. I ordered a few weeks ago 30 cans of beans. 10 of them are black beans, 10 of them are kidney beans, and 10 of them are pink beans. Also, I ordered 15 cans of chickpeas. I thought that this is a reasonable amount of beans. and chickpeas to have every now and then and would last us for quite some time. However, earlier this week, I opened the cabinet because I wanted to make a vegetarian chili using 2 cans of beans. But all of our beans were gone. What the hell? I asked my girlfriend, and she told me she buried the beans out in the woods. We got to that real fast. I thought there was going to be more build up to, by the way, I buried the beans.
I buried the beans. Here's a map. Go find them.
Hey, Sam, have you seen the screwdriver?
Oh, yeah, I buried it.
Okay, thanks. Do you know where the shovel is?
Buried that too.
Damn, that's impressive. At first I thought she was joking, but she explained, no, she had buried the beans in the woods. What the fuck? I asked her to explain, and she told me she was afraid that if things get bad, we might have to worry about looters or whatever, and that our beans would be in danger of getting stolen. I said I thought this was completely ridiculous and unlikely. She became angry at me and said she is protecting our beans. According to her logic, the beans are safely buried in the woods behind our apartment complex, and if we ever need some beans, she will go to the stash and dig up a can or two, but would prefer if we save them all for if things get worse. I said, why only bury the beans? Why not bury our more valuable items? And she said that canned food was the most valuable for long-term means. And that since we have fresh food in our online grocery deliveries, it would make sense to continue to stockpile beans. She intends to go bury more beans in the woods every week. This was too insane for me, and I got pretty upset. I demanded to know where our beans were buried, and she refused to tell me. She said I knew she was afraid I would dig them up. And I said, damn right I'm gonna dig up my beans. She said that this would jeopardize the beans.
This is definitely a person. This is definitely an extrovert that has gone insane from no human contact.
The following day, I tried to put my foot down. And I'm not usually a foot downer. But this is a rare situation where compromise is out of the question. I need my beans. I demanded to know where our beans were buried, and I told her if she was going to bury beans I paid for in the woods, that I would move out. We fought, but I kept insisting I know the location. In hindsight, I should have probably just let it go and created my own stash of beans in the apartment, and given her time to maybe cool down about this bean buying scenario, but I blew it all out of proportion. Yeah, it's pretty weird to bury beans in the woods, but why did I have to press it? What's the harm at the end of the day in the grand scheme of things? But I kept demanding her to take me to the bean stash, or at least draw me a map or something. And finally, she broke up with me. Over the beans! I have lost the love of my life because I couldn't let the damn beans go. I am in disbelief. She moved out. Not only am I heartbroken, I'm now paying full rent instead of 50%. This is a huge financial issue for me. And I didn't even get to learn where my buried beans are.
Not the beans.
So, we have a special connection to this, Sam. Because we were both living with our parents during the pandemic. And while we didn't bury our beans, our father purchased 2 years worth of canned food for the 5 of us. And kept
Charlie, not canned food. It was all canned beans.
And he kept it all in one room we referred to as the bean closet. And it got to the point we cleaned out our another closet just so he could put more beans in it. And now, it's been 4 years. The pandemic has calmed down a lot. He has to eat his way through all of these canned beans.
Right when I saw the guy say, 10 cans of Pinto, 10 cans of kidney, I'm like, oh, this guy cares about his beans. He knows it.
He knows his beans. He's a bean guy. Brother,
definitely... There you go.
I think you were dating Dwight Schrute. This sounds like a subplot from The Office. This is some Ron Swanson shit. But, what did you think of our iconic Reddit stories? What was your favorite?
The bean one is hard to beat. It's the poop knife or the beans.
I thought steak was pretty good.
Oh, God, the steak one, too. Those are top 3.
Potato?
Okay, Charlie.
Yeah?
Which one would you see yourself doing? You could see yourself doing.
Steak for sure. I said it before. I could see myself in that situation. No problem.
I hate to say it. As much as I harass the guy for it, I could see myself doubling down on a joke. Just
your potato?
My potato.
Dude, this is the worst BuzzFeed quiz in the world. Which iconic Reddit story are you? Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed these, and let us know what you thought your favorite iconic Reddit story was. Sam, give us a jingle.
Oh, shoot. The last one I thought in the day. This one's on the spot.
You asked for this to be your thing.
I know.
And you gotta think of these, my dude. You asked to do this.
It's me and you. It's nothing better to do. It's Charlie and Sam. We're on our way out. It's nothing better. Podcast.